Hi, and welcome to this expert briefing. This is something that Damian presented at the recent Commsverse conference, but I wanted to get a recording of it as well. It's a really interesting conversation. And when he first talked to me about the subject, I was like, oh, why do you need to do that? And a whole bunch of reasons fell out. So, Damian, for people who don't know you, maybe just give a quick intro.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name's Damian. I work within the British Standards Institution, or BSI, as a sort of a teams lead. So if it starts with Teams, it kind of comes my way. So Teams telephony, Teams MTR. So yeah.
Awesome. So, what is this subject? And feel free to take us through the slides as we go, and I'm going to pepper in some questions.
Yeah, sure. So effectively, I start. This all came about from a uh, just by chance happened to be on a change approval board last year when we were doing our telephony project, and I was just listening to the presentations that were on there, and someone from our HR systems team said, "Oh, at the weekend we need to change people's working locations, so we're going to change them. We're going to change them in our system, and then that will all update for all of the other systems that are downstream of that golden record." And I went, well, if you're going to change the usage location of all of the users in AD and update them and move them around and potentially move them around, what's going to happen to my numbers? And from there, I then started digging. It was, well, if all of our accounts get disabled, we're going to lose all our numbers. If we move from one place, there was so many things that were drawn out, and I was like, right, okay, panic mode, because I've got 2,500 numbers.
Yeah, and this is all you've got automation HR process around them, right? So this is
Yeah,
this is the risk here is you'll automatically assign people as they come into HR, they get a number, and if they're offboarded from your organization, they lose a number.
I lose the
But
number.
it was what are all the variables in between
Yeah,
that if they move site or move country or
yep.
and yeah, it's interesting to think that a big org change can actually have a big impact on number reprovisioning, deprovisioning.
So I think that I just then got curious to know what else is out there that could affect your numbers. Um, and I'm quite precious on my numbers. We spent 2 years migrating into Teams telephony, and there's a lot of work put in there. And I just don't want an outside factor to all of a sudden I come in the next day and all of my numbers have gone. It can happen. So I think for me, it was really why do those numbers disappear? And I came up with this list, and we're in the ballpark of having, I reckon, about 95% of them. There could be one or two out there that I just haven't captured yet. So the first one's really the change in user status. So if someone like we have it with contractors. Contractors have an end date. If their end date's not extended, either the manager forgets to extend it or whatever, their account gets disabled automatically by the automation. Well, their number gets dropped. We then get a ticket to say we've lost a number on this account. Can it be put back in? Chances are they know the number. We can go and find it. If they don't know the number, we're then scrabbling around looking through our ticket system to try and think, well, what number was assigned to that user? Then we've got the change in usage location. If your usage location doesn't match the geo location of the number you're assigned, it will pop the number. We've got changes between license SKUs. So E3 plus, if you go from an E3 plus telephony to an E5 and vice versa, that change there will then mean the licenses are pulled at one point, and is the synchronization going to hold itself to say keep the number? There is one thread that I found around someone saying if you convert your on-prem users to cloud only, that has a bearing on what happens in the in Entra AAD. Depends on what if you're old school or new school on it. So any upgrade to the AD on-prem, that could change one of the attributes around. So
Yeah.
usage location or something like that. That's going to then sync up. You could have a carrier error, full clash of numbers. That's going to cause an issue. You've got the classic, someone just inadvertently thinks that they're going to run an innocuous kind of piece of PowerShell or do something, and bang, all your numbers are gone.
That's the big one for me, is particularly in global environments, they're going to be multiple people with admin over numbers, and they might be well-meaning, but they we all make mistakes from time to time, and that's the risk.
We've all done it, and that's for me. That for me is the one of the real risky ones. I hate to call it out, but we trust that Microsoft are holding those numbers intact for us. Could there be I don't know, I would call it a cloud strike or something like that, where all the numbers globally, all numbers get removed from TAC? And there's no recovery in TAC to say, I'll restore all my numbers, like go back to this version. So yeah, and that was a concern. Then I started thinking, well, do I need to worry about my resource accounts? And I was really, well, yes, because the only difference between a resource account and an assigned account to a user or something like that is the resource account by its nature is disabled. So we can take that one out of the equation, but all of the others, the factors are still at play. So I was like, okay, I need to be concerned about all my numbers, just not my user numbers.
Yeah.
And then really it was, well, how do I do something that is going to be simple and effective for me to rest easy and not have to remember every Monday to go into my PowerShell, run my PowerShell, to then create a backup, put that backup into a SharePoint list, to then just rest for the rest of the week knowing I've got all my numbers. So we sort of came up with a PowerShell, a Microsoft Graph PowerShell. Well, it was in old school AD PowerShell, but we've rewritten it to the new world. So we've created PowerShell, Azure storage account, an automation account, which is like the minimum privileges to be able to do what they need to do, and then effectively an Excel template, which will, in the worst case scenario, you can take that automated process, paste it into the Excel spreadsheet, and it will rewrite the PowerShell you need for each line item to then play back that PowerShell.
So that's what you want to do. Reassign the right number to the right
reassign that number to that reassign that number to that site emergency site address, and you can just copy the list. And if you've lost everything, you copy the list, and I know as of the Sunday, yes, it might be a Thursday, and we'd lost all our numbers over Wednesday, Thursday night. Okay, how many numbers do I sign a week? Not that many. I can backtrack. I can go back through my records for the last couple of days. I can't go back through my records for the last 2 years. It would take me forever.
Yeah.
So as a process, it's creating. You just got to create that blob storage account. You need to create the service principal account with the minimum permissions. So I've written that we'll get to the GitHub piece in a minute, but I've sort of written the minimum permissions in the README on that one. Then you've got to load that recovery file to the storage location, and then just sit back and relax. Yes, every now and again I check the automation's running, but we've got automation alerting on that process, so if it fails or anything, we know about it. But sometimes on a Monday morning, I just for comfort, I go in and I just check I've got the file from the Sunday evening.
Yeah.
And then there was a quiz time. I was interested to see what people came up with this one. So this is a kind of a byproduct of the development, and it's an undocumented feature within the knowledge articles out there. But come on, Tom, how many? Oh, you can get the quiz on this one. How many records does CS phone number assignment come on? Will it return by default?
Oh, by default, interesting.
I'd guess it's something
like 500, and then it has a parameter variable, does it?
Oh, Tom, you've done your homework.
Hey.
I did
write the Learn docs for this many years ago. I'm glad I got that right.
but it's something that's not on there at the moment. And I got very confused because I my first attempt at the PowerShell, I'm sat there and it's given me 500 records,
Hmm.
and I was like, this isn't right. This can't be right. Why am I getting five? And I got then into like, well, there's a problem with there's a problem with my numbers. I've lost 2,000
Yeah.
numbers. Where are my numbers? Where are they all gone? And it wasn't until I realized you have to then loop through. So you take the first 500, you then move on to the next 500, you then move on to the next one until it's finished finding those records. And that's what we built into the PowerShell that runs, so that I don't have to then go back and say, oh, I've got 500 here and 500 there and
Yeah.
500
Yeah.
there. It just brings them all together in memory and then just dumps them out to the file. And then getting the numbers back easy. It's a case of extract the backup, paste the info into the recovery file, and take the PowerShell column, run the PowerShell. It's effective. It's
Yeah.
not going to be an instant fix. Like I know of some products out there that will do that enterprise grade sort of management, but for my requirements at the moment,
I
this
quite like
just
the like sort of low tech. Like I've got a storage and I've got a file and I know where that is, and I could do all sorts of things with that. So like, let's say randomly 7 users across the business have been impacted because of whatever variable combination things, or one of our telcos has messed up their configuration on Operator Connect. At least I know I've got the file, so I can go in and filter it and sort it out.
And the issue I think I found, I'll go back to that command alert. There was about is that command alert, the CS Online phone number, is it only returns back the GUID ID of the user's account. It doesn't give you the UPN that you need, that UPN for the PowerShell.
Yeah, so you have to do a bit of magic to get it aligned.
Yeah, so my PowerShell then goes off and says, go off and get all my AD data, go off and get all my numbers, and based on the GUID ID of the number, return back the UPN into my data feed, into that extracted backup. Then I know I've got the UPN to then play back into that, because you also need the usage location, the emergency address location, to play back into this. When you're assigning the number back, you're confirming you're assigning it back to that correct emergency address location, because that could all go. You could lose all of that. So it just means that you've just got everything going back in. So
that's awesome. And you've taken all this work and you've shared it with the community on a GitHub as well. So
I mean, get your phones ready, folks. So that QR there will get you to the GitHub repo.
We'll share the link in the comments as well.
Yeah, go and grab that, and give it a go.
It's really interesting. You've built a really great framework here for numbers, but potentially this is extensible in terms of methodology to other configurations. I mean, I've seen things like, I work with a big pharma customer and they had regulatory requirements over who got federation, who didn't. And we had to keep an independent database to prove they had it, they didn't have it, or they were in compliance recording, or they weren't in compliance recording. This same methodology could be extended to that kind of information, like who's been assigned recording and when did they get it assigned, things like that.
Yeah, totally. And or even down to like if we're using shared calling, and at the moment, because you have to manually go and assign the shared calling to someone. My next phase is, if all of the shared calling policies ever got wiped, at the moment I've got no backup for that. So for my I'm trying to think where we're using shared calling now, one of our sites, if all of those records got blown by something, I've only got my offline records of when I implemented the solution, rather than, well, I've got a Sunday record of who's got shared calling and what policy they've been assigned. That would be a relatively simple piece to move on to, and using the same account, because the same account has the permissions to look into TAC and get all of that data. that's probably I've just kind of caused myself more work now
There's
to
always more to do.
to go and do that, because that would be a killer to go back through and find all those details. So yeah.
Nice. That's amazing. Well, thanks for sharing that with the community. It's a really interesting conversation. It's nice to know, again, for the sake of a few hours setup there and an automation, just having that option. If you never have to use it, that's the ideal scenario. But knowing it's there is good to have in the background.
I would hope I never, and I said this at Comsverse, because I at the end I was saying to people, there was a lot of people going nodding, sort of like yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
And I was just out of it. I mean, I've got 2,500 numbers. That scares me. I could lose those. What sort of numbers are out there with people are going to tens of thousands of numbers? And I'm like, do you back them up? And like, that's a no then. And for me, even at 2,500 numbers, that'd be my worst case scenario, that I've lost all of those numbers in one instance. And for me now, that I can just sit there and go, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the worst case scenario happens, I can get them back probably, by the time I've logged on, got my PowerShell fired up, got the extract file, half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not instant. Press a button and go.
It's going to take it's going to take some time for the cloud to sync it all out and everything else. But at least you've done what you can.
To replicate, it takes some time to replicate it out.
Yeah.
But at least I've got enough of a backup now to as a comfort to someone says, if the worst case scenario happens, at least it gets me out of jail. It gets me that I've got all of those folks, I can recover it, leave it with me type. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. Will any comments, people feel free to drop them below. Damian's super engaged in the community and the fireside chats and everything else. So no doubt he'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, if anybody's got any ideas about extending that as well, that's a really interesting conversation.
Oh, definitely. If you want to create more work for me, feel free.
Awesome. Well, Damian, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
No worries. Thank you.